It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
We have matriculated down south, and we're at the Working Man's Beach. Patrick Johnson here with you. Great to be back in Surf City, America, ladies and gentlemen. Philip the Ref Pilkington back at the Radio Ranch, our world headquarters of IBX Media and 94.3 The Game. Pilk, how are you?
I'm good, P-Man. How are you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon?
Man, it is gorgeous out, and it is perfect. 80 degrees here at the Working Man's Beach. Mwah, c'est magnifique.
I love to hear it.
Couldn't get any better.
I think it's a little cooler here, but we don't get that ocean breeze, so I like it a little colder here than I do at the beach itself. So,
Right.
It's good.
Gorgeous weather, though.
It is.
Perfect weather.
I woke up this morning, got up to come over, and there was a little chill in the air still. I love it.
If it had been winds about 20 miles an hour and rain blowing sideways, it would remind you of college baseball season with the temperatures.
Yes, it would. ECU specifically.
Yes, seems like that's always the case. Hey, a couple things to announce. We've got Joe Sampson on the show today. Starting next week, Pilk, Joe will be joining us on Fridays. Great response to Joey Football. So Joey Football will be with us starting next week every Friday on the Patrick Johnson Show. Fridays with Joey Football, Pilkington. I like it. Cy Seymour and I are going to be back for ECU basketball again this season on ESPN Plus. We'll get some word the next day or two, the schedule. In fact, the Americans having a call tomorrow for TV designation. And what games will be on linear and what games will be presented on the Plus. There are 3 women's games I'll be doing on the Plus this year, Pilk. Got those assignments today, and already some other basketball assignments are starting to come in. So that is happening. Looking forward to all of that coming up. So some personal news there. Yesterday, it was very interesting, Pilk. You came by the coaches show yesterday at Tiebreakers. Was that your first time you've been to Tiebreakers during the coaches show?
Yeah, usually I'm stuck back here in some way or another, it seems like.
It's a pretty cool setup, isn't it?
It is. Credit to everybody at Tiebreakers for the, you're not tucked in some corner. You're out there. You're presented. The people can see you. I like it. I like how they give our guy Tree some room. It's not like he's up in your guy's face. And, they got David tucked in a back corner. Poor David, but he's used to kind of being tucked in a corner, being a radio producer. And I enjoyed it. I thought Coach's body language was really well. He's got to do the whole sign autographs, kiss babies thing. But when he walked around and talked to all the fans, he didn't seem fazed. I thought everything was good. I thought John Gilbert was good. I didn't get a chance to talk to John, talk to Coach briefly. But John seemed good, and the vibe in there, not as packed as it's been in the past, but I thought everything, all things considered, was pretty well.
Good crowd, not exactly a buzzing crowd. In fact, it was the quietest it's been at the beginning of one of our shows that we've done that I can remember. And I don't think it was quiet because of a lack of enthusiasm or a lack of interest. It was quiet because I think everybody in the venue, everybody in the restaurant, everybody sitting at the bar were intently listening to what Coach Houston had to say. And we've got a few things that he had to say, some questions I asked, and I appreciate him taking my questions that I asked him. And we've got some audio from that. Joe Sampson, as we mentioned, will be with us starting next week on Fridays. We're going to have Joe with us here today to react to some of this. Also, the big news in the NFL today, Joey Football's Jets have fired their coach, Bill. Robert Saleh, out.
Didn't see that one coming.
I don't understand the timing of it. It seems like because they're about to go through a really tough stretch of games, and it would seem to me that you don't want any upheaval. Now, maybe they're thinking this will light a spark. I don't know, but the next game they play will be the Monday night game against Buffalo, and you know who's going?
Joey Football.
Joey Football.
Yeah, so, I think the weird thing for me about this is, you're supposed to. Well, I say supposed to. They never do it, right? You're supposed to get a bye when you go to Europe, okay? The week after. I hate when the NFL brings the team back and doesn't give them a bye. So had they had the bye, I could maybe understand. Night. I know they're not playing until Monday night at least, which I get. But jet lag is a thing. I think it's stupid.
Oh, yeah. Well,
remember one year
an international traveler like yourself would know this.
I know. Well, it's coming from Zoki. It's tough coming back. Never been to Europe. But
yeah, it is tough coming back.
Yeah, I remember one year the Redskins and Bengals played there, and they both had a game Sunday the next week. It's like, come on, it's not this hard.
I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting for the NFL to have the Sunday game in Europe, and then have somebody come back and play on Thursday night because it's happening.
Oh,
you know it'll happen one day.
The dummy NFL will find a way.
Yeah, about the player safety. But they'll do that. And the players, because they'll get half a percentage more of the overall revenue for the Players Association negotiating that, they'll do it. All right, so a few things that Mike Houston said. Pilk and I will comment on them. We'll get some comments from Joey Football. We started and wanted to get the perspective of what Mike Houston saw on film. He watched the film, I'm sure, on the way back on the bus Saturday night. Probably finished watching it or watched it again Saturday night would be my guess. Certainly watched it, I'm sure, a couple times on Sunday. Here is Mike Houston on what he saw in the aftermath of the Charlotte win.
Well, obviously, not the way we wanted to play, and not the way we should expect to play. Based on what this group has done so far this year, and based on what I know their potential to be. So. It was a tough day, but you know what? The sun came up on Sunday morning. Watched the film Saturday night, and then watched it again on Sunday with the coaching staff, and then watched it with the team. And the good thing is you can see the correctable mistakes. Charlotte, we knew they were very good up front on both sides of the football, and they were. And they made they probably played the best game that they've played in years. I don't know when they've had a game that complete. But I do think that, that's the potential we saw in them on the films coming into the game, just because of their offensive, defensive front. They have talented, skilled kids. I thought the quarterback played really well. But we didn't play up to our standard on either side of the football.
Well, and I think, that certainly goes without saying. I can ask the questions. Coach certainly has the prerogative to, look at what or respond how he chooses. I didn't think he was ducking anything there by any stretch. It would have been, and of course, as the show kind of unfolds, you start to get into the specifics of some of that, and some of that right now he'll answer in this cut here. But that's the thing, and I think this is the one. I think what he says to them here, what he said to the team here is really interesting because I think it's one thing to maybe to make sure after a tough defeat like that, everybody is still singing from the same sheet of music. So this is what Coach said he told the team after when they met on Sunday.
The big piece that I shared with the team was, that's not who we are. And, we can't allow ourselves to represent each other like that. And so they're very driven. We're giving them a couple of days off because, it has been – we've been on a lot of tight ball games. We've played, some very physical teams. We had the trip to Liberty where you get back at 7 in the morning and go right into a game week against UTSA. And so, they need to recover a little bit at the beginning of the week. So we gave them, off from practice Sunday, today, and tomorrow, and then we'll start back practice on Wednesday, start getting ready for Army. But a big piece is just, hey, we gotta get ourselves healed up, get ourselves refreshed, Okay, and then, we got to go out and we got to prepare ourselves to go play our brand of football up in New York.
And basically, the other part of that message is you're not going to you win as a team, you lose as a team kind of thing. And there's not just one area. And you can't say, in my opinion, there was one area that cost them the game the other day. Certainly the defense didn't play very well. And the offense probably could have played better, clearly. But there wasn't one thing where, like last year, you could say, boy, if the offense would have just found a way to put some points on the board, they may have won some games. The whole thing Saturday was really, a team loss, as you say. All right, message to the fans. This is what Coach Houston had to say to Pirate Nation from last night's Inside ECU Athletics.
Well, I'm frustrated too. The players are frustrated also because we care. And you have people that care, and you have people that are working their tails off to go out and play at a certain level. And the thing is, when you're sitting in my seat, you don't sleep Saturday night, and you analyze things over and over and over again because my job is to make sure that I put those kids in the best position to go out and do what they love to do. And I've got to do a better job of that, and our coaching staff's got to do a better job of that, and I've got to make sure that everybody's working in that direction. But, you have people that care passionately about this program.
All right. Pilk, do you think we ought to do a break here or do the quarterback conversation? Because I think there's some fascinating stuff in the quarterback side of things.
Do you want to have the quarterback conversation with just us, or do you want to include Joe in the quarterback conversation?
You're the producer of the Steam show. What do you think we ought to do? You're the producer.
I think Joe has played in 2 more college football games than you and I have combined.
True. Very true. All right, well, let's get Joey football on the line, and we'll come back and discuss the quarterbacking thing. We'll also get Joe's reaction to that and talk a little bit about his Jets. Pilk is excited because it's a puck night. NHL starts tonight. By the way, shout out to our guy, Brian LeBlanc from Canes Country. He has a home down in Florida and is down there, and in the Orlando area, going to ride out the storm. So best of luck to him and all of our other friends. Text with Rini and Goliath some today, some of my other buddies from down there in Florida. So I bet Hurricane's back up to a Cat 5. So our best to the folks down there, particularly in the Tampa area. It's going to be rough. All right, timeout. We'll come back. Joey Football will join us, and we'll talk about some of the Coach Houston comments, and here's some more. Talk the Pirates with Joey Football, and I say we can open the lines if folks have something to say. Let's do that if they want. 252-561-8255. 561-8255. There's been some questions today about why there hasn't been any kind of statement for ECU. I don't think there's anything to make a statement on at this point. But anyway, we will continue on here. Joey Football, more from Coach Houston. Your calls if you so desire. We'll be back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Pirate game days, there's nothing like them. The atmosphere,
First down.
the tradition, the matchups, the magical finishes. Be a part of Pirate Game Days. Season tickets are as low as $115. Reserve your seat today to be a part of the experience of Pirate Game Days at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium this fall.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Download the new IBX Media app now and get the show for your ears and eyes.
Doesn't it look great on me?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
One of the more colorful writers we know is Cole Barnhill, and Cole's book, An Appalachian Nightmare, is out today. It is available at Amazon. An Appalachian Nightmare by Cole Barnhill. Cole is in media relations at ECU, covers soccer and women's basketball, track and field. Any other sports, Pilk? Is he lacrosse?
He is lacrosse,
Cole do
yep.
lacrosse also? Yeah. So there you go. Cole is, I know you and he are really tight. Great guy. I like Cole a lot. I don't know him as well as you do, but I know him professionally, and he is a real pro and a nice guy. So An Appalachian Nightmare is his book. You might remember we had him on back a couple months ago. Available at Amazon. Pick it up today, and I'm sure I was told, too, that Cole's got some books himself, so if you find him on the staff directory and email him over at ECU Media Relations, I'm sure he'll be happy to sell you a book straight to you, hand it to you. May even sign it for you. Who knows? I want a signed copy, Cole, just so you know.
I'll get that.
We'll pay for it.
Yeah.
We're not looking for a freebie. We'll throw Cole some cash. Cole's cash. We'll throw Cole some cash.
There you go.
But I want it signed. All right. Joey Football on a Tuesday. As we mentioned, Joey Football will be joining us on Friday, starting next week. What a way to end the week with Joey Football Sampson. All right, we're gonna. Let's start with the Houston stuff. Let's talk some ECU here. I know it's a big day for you as a fan because your Jets have fired their head coach, Saleh. But I say let's continue the ECU conversation here a little bit. Reaction to the Charlotte game before we get going, Joe Sampson.
Well, first thing I have to say is Cole Barnhill is the greatest sports trivia player of all time. I have to give him a shout out with the Coneheads. Ask Philip in the booth. There is a question, 2009, who was this leading passer for this conference team that went on to play in this bowl game? And Cole Barnhill is out of the chair before they finish the question. That's the guy he is. He is a savant when it comes to trivia. So I have to give him his flowers on that one. Excited to read his book now that it's finally out too. Cole, big fan. Obviously, we've been good friends now for a couple of years. What I have to talk about, though, is the ECU elephant in the room. And everybody wants to make a big deal out of this, but there was a metric that came out, actually, and it's called like approved win, if you would. And ECU is actually in the lower threshold as far as everything that went down, as far as success rate, plays, and things to that nature, which was very shocking to me to see from an analytics standpoint, but not shocking when you look at the eye test. ECU had so many opportunities that could have made it a very different game and a very different call sheet. So you go in, you miss the first touchdown, obviously. Everybody wants to talk about it. Chase Sowell, he'll bounce back. He's a mentally tough player. He's going to do that. That's what happens. If you score that touchdown, you're sitting there up 7-0. A lot of things change on your call sheet if you're calling it from up, if you're not down 2 scores, if you're not trying to play hero ball. Do I think they still probably would have gone to Hauser in the second half with the struggles they had offensively? Yes, but I think that it might have opened some things up a little bit more for Hauser to feel more comfortable. So with the bye week, it's kind of the perfect time. You're 3-3. Yes, nobody expected to be 3-3. We expected a better record, but you're not below 500. Like, Caton Hauser can take over this offense. You could still get 3 wins. You could still steal 4 wins. You can make a legitimate bowl game or put yourself in a position to be in a postseason conversation. You're only 1-1 in the conference, and this is not like the NFL where your divisional record doesn't carry the same weight as the outside division record, and all of a sudden you got to worry about if you're 8-8 playing for the division or not because the team above you is 12-4 and they haven't beat anybody in the division. That's not how this goes. In college, it's all about your conference record. So they're still in a great spot as far as ECU goes. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon yet by any means, but I understand where people are coming from to want to talk about it.
All right, let's get a little bit of Coach Houston and the thought on the quarterback change decision. Pilk, this is a pretty lengthy cut. Well, we'll just roll with it here, Pilk. If I flag you down and say get out of it, but we'll go with as much of it as possible here.
There's some plays there, and listen, Jake is as hard on himself as anybody is. So he knows it too, and he owns it. He owns things immediately on the sideline. It's what the players love about him is he holds himself accountable. But everybody saw the interception, and that's a forced throw. And he can't do that because we had momentum there. We had a first down. We're at midfield. Yeah. We're driving again. But there were just 1 or 2 reads on things that you don't see on the stat sheet, and nobody in the stands are going to notice. Where you make the correct read, and it's a big play for the Pirates. And for whatever reason, he just was pressing a little bit or just not quite on it. And we just felt that we needed something to kind of, give us a boost and get us going. And Caton has been practicing very well, and so wanted to get him in there and give him that opportunity. Now, that does not mean that I've got 100% confidence in Jake Garcia. He is a good football player, but I have just as much confidence in Caton also. So, we wanted to give Caton a shot there and see if he could get some things going. And he did there in the third quarter, and we were, there's a key part of the second quarter and a key part of the third quarter where, we're in possession to get right back in the game, tie the score, take it to, less than 1 score. And those are moments that we weren't able to convert.
Was there anything that happened in that game, Joe, that you felt like prompted the quarterback change? I mean, to me, the offense wasn't the problem. I know there was a pick 6, but I mean, I kind of put a little bit of that on Spalding, as much as Garcia, who was the intended receiver. I'm still, is other than just the more than meets the average fan's eyes, there more to this decision. What did you see that maybe prompted it?
Garcia's been having a struggle as of late, and that's because they've tried to change the way he throws the football. He's a gunslinger. He loves to go for that middle field type open route. He wants to try and attack you, and he hasn't been able to on the sideline, so it's really limited what he can do in the middle of the field. Hauser's a little different. Hauser likes to go up the seam. He's going to attack you on the corners. He's going to try and fight you on those sideline throws and those tight contested windows, but he hits the open receiver, and that's what makes him such a very different quarterback. I thought from how Charlotte was playing it was kind of like a one high shell, almost a 3-week buzz. They do a little bit of different stuff, so it really was like a cover 5, which for those of you who don't know is 1 on the front side, 2 on the back side. It's not 1 + 2 = 3. I know that's confusing for everybody listening, but that's how it goes. So it was really like a cover 5. They have two guys who kind of lurk as inverts on the front side of the field. And Hauser was a better quarterback to kind of feel that out and do those things because Jake was an ugly 6 of 8. And when I say that, with the RPO and everything else, there were so many more opportunities you thought he could throw the ball that he kind of gave it to Rajay or tried to do something. And Charlotte just defensively had their number in the run game. So there wasn't necessarily anything more than what you've seen the last couple games. It was time to give Hauser a shot. But as the great Steve Logan has told us, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. So I expect Houston to stick with one guy and really ride him the next couple weeks.
All right. With that said, is there a competition, an open competition, a controversy, however you want to put it, for a quarterback?
With every position, we are going to put the players out there in situations that are going to give us the best chance to win. And so I don't have to answer that question on Monday with the game a week and a half away. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're going to worry about getting our game plan together for Army, having a great week of practice here during this bye week, making sure we get everybody healthy, and then we're going to do what is very best for Pirate football.
Okay. What's best for Pirate football, Joey football?
The first thing I need to clear is, I loved how he said it. There is an open competition every single time the Pirates hit the field. Your job, it's safe as far as that goes.
Joe, that's coach speak, Joe.
No, that's not coach speak. I am telling you, there have been guys who have lost their job in the middle of the week at receiver, at corner, at things like that. Tegan Wilk, when he first came into ECU, was running with the 3s. By the end of the camp, he was a starter with the 1s. And you saw how that safety situation played out for the rest of the year between him and DJ Ford. It's not one of those things.
That's camp.
You know, Patrick, if you're not going to let me try and tell you how the people please, I can't please the people.
Go ahead.
So, obviously, yes, it's coach speak, but that truly is what Coach Houston has kind of built this off, is it's competition. That's what it's about. You don't have quarterbacks like you do in the NFL where they can call the bat phone and say, I don't feel like practicing today. Jake Garcia is under center when it comes to inside run. Caden Hauser's under center when it comes to inside run. So the situations change a little bit between the 1s and the 2s and the looks you get, but I guarantee you that Caden Hauser is just as locked in the film room as Jake Garcia, if not more so. Sometimes as the backup, you prepare completely different than the starter because you know if you go in, you didn't get those mental reps. You didn't get those hands-on reps. You need to know if this safety drops, we have this adjustment that only the 1s got, the 2s didn't get. And that's what makes quarterback the most difficult position on the field mentally. Obviously, physically, it could be tight end, but we're not going to get into that discussion right now. Ooh, but still, when you get into these conversations with the coaches, of course he's going to say he doesn't have to make a decision right now. He doesn't. He's got a bye week. You literally get a chance to self-scout yourself now for the next 6 days. You don't have a game coming up. You can give yourself Saturday off, come back Sunday, and prepare for Army.
So I hear what you're saying there. Totally hear what you're saying there. But do you – well, okay, let's talk about Hauser's performance. Was there anything that he did in the framework of – I mean, obviously came in kind of, it's tough to come in when they brought him in. Tough situation. Comes out of the half. They have the scripted drive. He takes them down, executes it, they score. So, right there he looked good. After that is where it sort of came off the rails a little bit, but he also was in a little bit of a tough situation. And Pilk made a great point yesterday about not being able to run day in and day out with the 1s. I mean, that's, just a fact. He hasn't gotten a whole lot of snaps the last 6 weeks with the first offense. So what did you see that you like? What did you see that gives you pause from the Hauser half of football?
So the Hauser half, what stood out to me is obviously talk about the first drive, but it's when he got off script. He started to kind of sit in there in the pocket. He knew where the tight window was supposed to go, and it was great coverage by Charlotte. I am not going to diminish Charlotte by any means. They had a fantastic game plan, a great understanding of where the weak points of the offense were, and JDB is going to use that, internalize it, and he's going to find a way in the second half to wake up. Because that was an anemic offense. It didn't necessarily hit the shots you needed to down the sideline. Tyler Savage scores a touchdown. Shout out to T-Sav on his first career one. But other than than that, that's really all it was. Brock Spalding comes down with that catch. Yes, you might be in a different situation. I think it was inside the 35. And all of a sudden, they're running it down now, and they're playing the fight song on the other side. So that's going to kill his confidence as far as Garcia immediately. Hauser didn't have that moment necessarily where he had anything blown out of proportion. The game was, I don't want to say out of hand, but it felt like the wind was out of the sails a little bit anyway when you came back from halftime. Just from a fan perspective now, no longer being in the locker room. Obviously, you think you have a chance anytime there's numbers on the clock that aren't zero, but from the fan perspective, we knew what pretty much the end of the game was going to look like before it actually got to it. So I was really excited to see how Hauser hit the tight windows the same way Garcia did, but what stood out was how he threw on the sidelines. Hauser's got such a live arm that the hardest throw, and Philip will attest to this, is the hash to the outside numbers. If you can throw that 6-step out, you're going to be a very good quarterback in this league. And Hauser completed, I think it was 2 of 4. And considering the coverages that they were playing, I really like how Hauser's upside looks, especially against an Army defense that doesn't like to play anything but outside.
So, Pilk, I didn't tell Pilk to get this, but it was the 2 running backs, wasn't it, Pilk, who said they just gave up, right?
Yeah,
and
it was.
The 2 Charlotte running backs.
The Charlotte gentleman, yes.
What do you, when you hear that, what enters your mind?
From an ECU fan standpoint or from a player standpoint?
I want, all right, Pilk, you give me your perspective first.
Okay. I think if you're a fan of East Carolina, that lets you know.
Should make you mad.
It should make you mad. But you're not mad. Some people are mad at the Charlotte player for saying it. Oh, that's when it gets fun. No, you can tell. Look, when you're a player and you're winning, you always know we have to be smart because they're in the same level of football players as us. They can come back if we get content. But when their body language starts to change and there's a different look in their eye and you can see that and they look defeated, you know you've won, and he's right. That's when it does get fun because you know you can just go out there and play like a kid in the schoolyard and you're about to drag their rear end through the dirt. So to me, that lets me know, I'm not frustrated because it's so much easier said than done than, well, don't let the bad plays get to you. Don't give up. Like, that's easier said than done. But what it tells me is this team was demoralized. It was over, and you know what? To the fans that left early, you beat the traffic. Good job, because it was over, it was done, and now it is what it is, and now our team knows what it's like to have no shot. Because at the end of the day, once you start feeling that way, you have no shot.
I have no problem with the fans leaving, too. They paid their money. And I have no problem with the fans being – now, you shouldn't be upset at the Charlotte players.
No.
Charlotte players were just telling what they perceived to be the truth, what it was like from their perspective. All right, Joey Football, as a fan, how does that make you feel?
As a fan, all I got is 3 characters for you. It's what Coach Sweet used to tell us. That's B2A, belt to ass. That is exactly what happens. You just see them getting whooped and whooped and whooped. And that's like one of those ones where you're like, dang, should I say something? Like, they're really taking it over there. No. That's what happens when you go in there unprepared and you come out unmotivated in the second half. And that's exactly what it looked like. They came out flat. That's not the Mike Houston team I know. I promise you, he was throwing something in the locker room. He was breaking a podium trying to get the guys amped up. And if that's not the head coach that's going to get you amped up, then as a player, you're not prepared to play.
All right, what about as a player when you hear that? When you hear the opposition say that we kick those guys, their butts up and down the field the whole game. They gave up.
Unfortunately, go look at the box score. You don't really get to say much when you're on the losing side of things. History is written by the victors. You don't get to be upset about people talking about you when you go out and you let up that many points. Blake Harrell would have had us on the line running for every single first down they had in the second half. And that's the difference, because now in this new age NIL, when I got to hold your hand because you don't have fruit snacks in the players lounge anymore, there's no accountability. And that's the problem right now, is everybody's going to say Joe's a cop-out. Joe likes to give us the coach speak. The coach speak is what makes players better. And right now, nobody wants to hear it. All they want to hear is, it's okay, Pirate Nation. It's okay. Charlotte's a better team. No. That's what happens when you go in and you get your tail whooped, and you have to look at yourself in the mirror and realize it's not the coaches getting you prepared. It's the people in the mirror who need to decide if they want to play football on Saturdays. And there's a bunch of them who do. There's a bunch of them who are ready to go, and it's the older guys. But the new guys need to rise to the level of the Pirates, but they've been sinking down by where it was last year, and that's the difference that gets people fired up.
When you say the new guys, do you also mean maybe those that have some experience who have transferred in and are new to the roster?
Absolutely.
Okay. Interesting.
There's different ways to do it. There's player coaches, there's attitude coaches, as we used to like to call them, and then there's the motivators. Coach Houston's a motivator. It's what he lives for. He tries to get the guys going. But if you came from a Lane Kiffin offense or you came from a James Franklin, they may not rip you the same way. They may be coddling. They may have a different relationship from you, and that's the difference as far as it goes. So it's all about what your coach is. You kind of figure that out from an early day. Your position coaches are different the same way. So
we're going to let Pilk do an update here. I'll come back maybe another question or two, and then your Jets made a big move today.
They did.
I have a couple questions about that for you. All right, Philip the Ref Pilkington with a 94.3 The Game Sports Flash update. We are talking ball with Joey Football. We're going to have Coach Doug Martin with us tomorrow. Big news in that I guess there's a group that wants to commit billions of dollars for the top 70 teams to kind of split off and do their own thing in football. So we'll talk to that tomorrow, or we'll talk about that tomorrow with Doug. Later in the week, John Feinstein, I promise, we'll have him Thursday. Special show at 4 o'clock. We'll be on at 4 o'clock through the Super Bowl on Thursdays. We'll also talk to Will Bland, who is the J.H. Rose coach. Rampants will be playing D.H. Conley this weekend. Friday night on the gridiron, and we'll have Coach Logan, and we're still working on a couple of guests for later in the week. Maybe we'll have Coach, maybe not. Logan, of course, will be on Friday at 5. All right, here is Philip Pilkington with a sports update. Pilk.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, a Pirate swimmer, Sarah Kolowaska, has been named the American Athletic Conference Swimmer of the Week. She won the 100 and 200 butterfly over the weekend, and her relay team in the 200 medley finished in second, and she also got second in the 400 free relay. Going elsewhere in sports, the Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh, who's with the team since 2021. He had a record of just 20 and 36. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich will step in as the interim. The NHL season has officially begun. There were 2 games in the Czech Republic last week, but first game being played in North America right now. The Seattle Kraken lead the St. Louis Blues 2-0 early in the second period. The Kraken 2 goals came within a minute 52 of each other there at the beginning of the period. Mets and Phillies are doing battle in Game 3 of the NLDS series, tied at 1 apiece. Mets up 1-0 at home in the bottom of the second, thanks to a Pete Alonso solo shot. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. More with Joe Sampson, including the firing of his Jets head coach Robert Saleh on the other side of this timeout.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Hey Glenn, let's talk about a new program at Greenville Nissan.
Sure, sometimes bad things happen to good people, like credit hiccups.
Greenville Nissan just rolled out credit forgiveness.
If you've been making consistent car payments and you're tired of that high interest rate, this program is for you.
Get into a new Nissan with a manageable payment and keep that cash in the bank.
Come visit us at Greenville Nissan and drive your Nissan home today.
Hurry, this program ends September 3rd. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates!
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, Newbern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
McGee on sports. Come on, P-Man on air. Let Joy Football please the people.
Let him.
Let him please the people. All right. If you were naming a starting quarterback, if you're ECU for Army, who is it going to be?
I'm going to upset a lot of people. It's Jake Garcia. I trust veteran leadership when it comes to a team like Army.
Okay.
They're 4-0. You're playing the
5-0.
option. You're 5-0. My apologies. Them and Navy 5-0. That makes 10 for those of you who can't count. I can't. When it comes to that, you need to make sure you have the guy on the sideline you can trust, and that's Jake Garcia because he's got experience. You're facing the option. You're going to get the ball 5, maybe 6 times, possibly 7. 7 if it's a good day. You're going to have to score in every single drive if you want a chance.
Okay. All right. We can discuss all that later on. There's plenty of time for all this to play out.
So much time. So much time.
Next Friday, we can spend the whole show on the starting quarterback of the Pirates, and we probably won't know come next Friday.
And some other things. Yeah, we won't know come next Friday, and some other things. We can discuss a few other things too. So, Joe. Coaching change today in the NFL. Robert Saleh is no longer the head coach of your Jets. What is interesting is Hackett, the OC, was it Nathaniel Hackett? Is the OC there? Apparently he was considering axing Hackett, and then he got the gas. So you're going to be at the next Jets game, which will be Monday against the Bills.
Yeah.
What do you make of this?
Well, I thought it was going to be record-breaking because it was going to be Devontae Adams' first game in Jet Green, and now all of a sudden it's the first game without Bobbert Saleh on the sidelines. So it's going to be interesting. Look, it was one of those things where Jeff Ulbrich is calling the defense. It's the cornerstone of the Jets right now. I understand that. And much like Colin Cowherd, who hasn't watched the last 56 games of Jets football like I have, he has been the inefficient usage of timeouts. He doesn't understand game management. He doesn't understand the chess match, and that's okay. There's certain coordinators who are not meant to be head coaches and understand the little details. There was an instance you had the ball, I think it was 1:47 left in London. You're going back down, and instead of him calling a timeout to try and preserve something and then go for the third down, and then from there you can go the fourth and the field goal, he lets the clock run. It's just stuff like you'd know it on Madden, and that's what it came down to. Obviously, Todd Downing is going to be in this conversation to take over play calling duties. He had a pretty decent run with Mike Vrabel his last 2 years in Tennessee, but nothing more that you would expect than what Nathaniel Hackett has done. Garrett Wilson is the most targeted receiver in the NFL at this point. So clearly it's not a targets issue. It's not anything else. What it comes down to is throwing 50-50 balls to a man who was playing soccer last year on the sidelines in Alan Lazard. And that's the issue. Because everybody wants to say it was Robert Saleh, and part of it was, and I get that. But for people to say that you cut off the most competent part of this coaching staff, be real.
I don't want to turn this into SNY or FAN, but my curiosity here is, I knew that would crack you. I wanted to, I mean, why now? Why not do this in 2 or 3 weeks? I mean, nothing's going to change.
I have no idea.
And they're about to go through the most difficult part of their schedule over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I guess it's a sink or swim thing, and I'm no Don LaGreca. I do not try to be. But that's just the thing that confused me so much is you're sitting at 2 and 3. You could have been, 4. You could have been 3
and 1.
You could have been 4 and 1. You could have been 3 and 2. Sorry, math is hard, guys. Don't make fun of me. And now you have a chance to be in first place in the AFC East with all this stuff. You scored the same amount of points this year as you did last year through this many games. It's in front of you, and you let the guy go. First off, he's in the building yesterday, and all of a sudden it's like the bat phone telling him that Commissioner Gordon needs him. He gets fired on his way into work. That's ridiculous. I think Woody is having an issue that Chris was running the team better than him when he was in London all this time and built this great organization that we are now seeing him tear down limb from limb. So I don't understand the timing of it by any means, especially going into the Bills. You have the bye week coming up. If you want to make a change in the bye week, I understand that. But to do it now, I was just appalled.
You know, the other interesting thing, and because I was thinking the same thing with the timeout management, me and my roommate were talking about, and this is not the first time. You know, we've had going on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and saying, oh, and the Jets mismanaged the clock this week, because I'm not going to lie, I've watched the Jets as much as you have because you're always on at 1 o'clock, same as we are.
Fair.
But, you know,
not this year.
I've got a question about that.
He hasn't been. He hasn't. Yeah, why the Panthers have 3 straight 4 o'clock games coming up, nobody knows. But you know, the interesting thing about him is you're judged so much on wins, and wins this day and time are so much based off quarterbacks. And he's really had 5 games of his tenure with a competent quarterback. The most competent quarterback he's had is like 48-year-old Joe Flacco until now.
No, actually, it's Trevor Siemian. He was 2 and 1. He's got the best winning percentage. That's the sad part about this.
Trevor Siemian, Bronco bust. Trevor Siemian.
They're all Bronco busts.
The Broncos haven't drafted a quarterback ever that has worked out for them because they didn't even draft Elway.
They didn't draft Elway.
They didn't draft Craig Morton. They didn't draft
Cleveland drafted Elway, didn't they?
Baltimore Colts drafted
Baltimore.
Yeah.
And
Colts
then
the Colts
Cowboys drafted Craig Morton, and obviously the Colts drafted Peyton. So,
all right. Who is the more dysfunctional franchise? Joey Football's Jets, Philip Pilkington's Panthers.
You want to go first, Joey?
You can go first. I think we have a uniform answer on this one.
I think, you know, if you look back over the last 15 years, it's been the Jets, but moving forward, and if right now I would rather be a Jets fan than a Panthers fan because the Panthers are set up the way the Redskins were set up for so long with Dan Snyder, where the owner's going to meddle for the next, you know, quarter of a century. But the Jets have been the most bleh, but at least I think finally just get stuff figured out. They'll be okay.
Yep, I agree. I think going forward, it's the Panthers. But historically, are you kidding me? We haven't been back to a Super Bowl since 1969. There have been
I think historically you're correct, but like
Apple didn't exist the last time we were in the Super Bowl.
Had they had Woodstock? Woodstock hadn't happened yet the last time they were in the Super Bowl.
Well, let's see. What year?
Because that was the summer of '69. That was the summer of '69, brother.
Yeah, so then no.
Summer
Woodstock.
of '69.
Yeah, because that was the '68 season that you guys won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick was right. August 15th through the 18th, '69. Woodstock had not happened.
Woodstock had not happened the last time the Jets were in the Super Bowl. All right, big, huge weekend of college football. Now, some of the numbers in front of the names are a little different than we thought they were going to be when we were talking back in the summer. This was going to be the biggest weekend of the season. What stands out to you, Joey Football, as the games du jour for the weekend? What are the big college games that have tickled your fancy?
You know, I'm so torn, but I think Penn State USC is going to be a really intriguing matchup, regardless of the fact they had to drive all the way to Harrisburg to take off on the bigger airplane. Boo-hoo, James Franklin. I think that matchup is so interesting because of what exactly Lincoln Riley has tried to get to as far as what he's done this year with Miller Moss under center for them and tried to do those things as far as different from Caleb. And Penn State's having a really good year offensively and defensively, nothing that I had anticipated so far. So I think that's the sleeper for like the game of the week to really keep your eye on.
Okay.
Hey, I like it. That's an outside the box answer. I mean, you got two top.
That is a little bit of an out, but I mean,
yeah, you got a top 5 matchup.
Right?
Yeah, outside of the out a couple weeks ago, that was a top 15 matchup a couple weeks ago.
That game's still playoff implications.
Yeah.
Oh, there's huge playoff implications. Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you this.
They're 4.
I'll tell you this. That's big for Lincoln Riley too.
It is.
Could be a get-back game for Lincoln Riley in some ways.
We know Penn State can't win big games.
No, they cannot.
But because USC, even though it is a big game, we know it's a big game, but because USC is not ranked, does that allow the curse to not happen on Penn State?
No, because I think it's a big. Yeah, I think there's a lot to this.
Yeah, but they always beat the unranked team. They never lose to an unranked team.
Yeah, but this is
App State.
When did they lose to App State?
This is a better than Michigan did.
That was Michigan.
Penn State.
That was Michigan. Right. Sorry, too many concussions.
All right, Joey Football. Next week, Joey Football will be on Fridays. Of course, Joey Football. Are you ready for the 9 a.m. Anson Belt & Buckle Pirate Game Day Countdown presented by Orthopedics East a week from Saturday, Joey Football? Are you ready for the 9 a.m.er?
You know, there's very few times people have to question my energy, and it's happened before on Hoist the Colors, so that's why I say very few. I'll bring the energy at 9 a.m. Don't you worry. I'll be up. I'm ready to go.
Are you a coffee guy?
I'm always up.
Are you a coffee guy,
I am.
Joey Football?
I am. I'm both. I'm a coffee and a tea guy. I'm coffee in the morning, tea
How do you
in the
take
afternoon.
your coffee? How do you take your coffee, Joey Football?
Half and half, 2 sugars.
Okay, sugars. There you go.
See,
Pilk, are you a
the other
coffee
thing
guy?
is the other thing with Joe too is like he knows how to amp himself up. He'll like smash his head on a locker or something right before we go on. He'll still be bleeding from the top and like, I had to go get stitches after the Pirate Game Day Countdown. Missed the first half. Sorry guys, but I brought the energy. Yeah. I'm more of a. I would prefer to drink soda or energy drinks, but I know that's not good, so I try not to.
Okay.
You know, I'm a protein shake in the morning and try and drink as much water as I can kind of guy till my nightly glass of bourbon. Yeah. But if I'm, walking around the radio ranch and not feeling it, and Jana's always got coffee on, so I had a cup today. I drink 1 or 2 cups a week probably of coffee.
I had an afternoon coffee. I'm going to walk on the beach after the show. Here's what's going to happen. I could fall asleep right now because Joe's on. No, I'm tired. I'm tired, and I could sleep under the table right now. Not because you're on, Joe. You've brought it today, baby.
I get
but I had an afternoon coffee, and I will not be able to sleep in 3 hours when I want to go to bed.
Hopefully
I will not be able to sleep now.
You can access some of that energy on the beach. The problem is the beach is just going to wake you up. You're going to get some of that vitamin D, that evening sunlight. It's going to hit your face. It's going to wake you up. You're feeling great.
It's always the wind. Each wind is different.
Hey, but Patrick, at least I know you want to go to bed because you get up so early, but at least you have some good playoff baseball to watch tonight.
This is true.
I'll do that, and that'll help put me to sleep.
There you go.
There you go.
No, Bob Costas
Do we
isn't
talk
on.
this up? Do we talk this up to 5350?
Yes, we have.
Want to do that?
Yeah, because it's
okay. Can we do that?
Rolling music is already on for the 5350.
Okay.
There it
I
is.
was going to take a break, but we'll just double up on breaks a la Stern back in the day. All right. Before he lost his mind. And anyway, stick to sports. All right. Joey Football, thank you. We'll see you next Friday. Next Friday. Friday week. Fridays with Joey Football. I'm excited about that.
Football
All
Fridays
right,
are back, baby.
Football Fridays. All right. Doug Martin tomorrow. Thank you, Pilk. We'll see everybody in the morning on Talk of the Town. And
Go Bees,
back
baby.
here at 5 tomorrow.